It's been interesting. I need to check it out. Anyway, hey, good afternoon. I am Mag. If you're watching us through Facebook, hello. It's facebook.com/AFO Radio for those of you who are tuning in via our app or our website this afternoon. Now, we're right smack in the middle of the week and we're getting closer to the end of the month already. Okay, so soon it will be the final quarter of the year, and I do not even want to, explain or even try to imagine what the rest of the year is going to be like. Okay, it's been a pretty interesting 2020 thus far. So this afternoon, I have a gentleman who's going to walk us through some very interesting points of what we've faced in the first half of 2020. Now, let's all face it, okay? 2020 has indeed been a very, very challenging year. In fact, some may say that it has been the most challenging year ever. And I definitely have to agree. Okay, so this afternoon, let me introduce you to my guest. He is Andrew Heng. He is Group Managing Partner from Baker Tilly, Malaysia. And this afternoon, we'll be talking about leading and managing change through a crisis. So let's get Andrew onto the screen so that we can get right into this. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? I'm good, thank you.
I'm good, I'm fine.
All right, so we're coming to the end of August already. I mean, you guys are, one of the biggest firms when it comes to accounting and, financial planning and stuff like that. What are your expectations for the rest of the year?
I think it will be pretty slow, I think. Slow and there'll still be, a lot of getting used to and so on. So I think, yeah, everyone is playing the wait and see game. So you probably only see more activities moving closer towards next year, I think.
I think so too, isn't it? So, coming from the largest, one of the largest accounting and business advisory firms in Malaysia, would you say that's a good thing or a bad thing?
There's no good at bad things, I suppose. All this will take a bit of planning. I think every businesses, every industry, they have a different problems they are facing. Some of them can't get their goods out. Some of them don't have the sales, don't have the orders. So I think, you just need to plan a bit and see how the rest of the world is moving. Just be a bit more observant and to see what the rest of the countries are doing, whether they are on lockdown or more lockdown and so on. So I suppose, it's just a lot more planning that is required.
Absolutely, you are absolutely right. Now, this afternoon, we will be talking about leading and managing change through a crisis. And let's face it, 2020 has presented us with a whole tray full of crisis, isn't it? So, how was the first half for you guys?
Oh, it was chaotic, worrying, but we were lucky that we got a group of very capable partners and directors and managers as well. So I think we gone through it pretty well. I think with a bit of worry here and there, a few sleepless nights, but that's about it.
Brilliant, brilliant. So this afternoon, you're going to walk us through leading and managing change through a crisis. Now,
Yeah.
before we actually get right into the topic, maybe you can walk us through what it actually means to lead and what it means to manage.
I think the short answer to that, leaders influence, managers will direct, right? But sometimes it may not be as black and white as that. Leaders will generally focus on what matters the most, and while the managers will focus on the how. Uh,
Mm,
so both also use different kinds of influence and direction at different times. So leaders tend to, bias towards influencing by inspiring and enabling through advice, counsel, and maybe co-creating. While managers, their tendency is biased towards command and control, organizing everything, coordinating, and telling people what to do. You do this, you do that. So so if you look at it from a day-to-day daily operation type of thing, leaders will be the one that gives the strategy and the vision, the why and the what. Whereas
mm,
managers, they'll be very comfortable in managing the how to get this
Yes.
done, and and I think the problem, the issue is most of the times managers are the ones, they are very accustomed to putting out fires, and they like, when the problem arose, they get excited because this is the time where they put on their suit and put out fires and on a reactive standpoint.
Definitely. Now, I love the way how you actually broke that down for us and gave us the difference between a leader and a manager. But I'm sure it's not easy to, come from being a manager and moving on to being a leader, isn't it? It takes a lot more to be a leader.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I think part of the problem is because we're so used to being a manager, just
Yeah.
manage, and we go through the ranks coming up from as a junior to a assistant manager to manager, and even as a director, you tend to just manage the problems at hand,
Yeah.
and you just want to see things moving, and that's always been the issue. And once you get to a level where you are supposed to be the leader, you have to really take a back step, a back stand, and take a step back and just let the other managers do the managing, and you set the direction, you talk to them, um, and you have to be brave enough to accept a few failures, to see that the managers fail, and co-counsel them and tell them, maybe this is not the right way. So you have to be prepared for that. Some small failures here and there. Then I think then if you can take that step back as a leader, that's where I think then you can build your own influencing skill, how to influence people, how to counsel people, and sometimes counseling people can be quite tedious as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when you're presented with a whole lot of crisis, like 2020 has, is it easier to be a leader or is it easier to be a manager? Because when you're faced with so much adversity, all you want to do is let's put the fire out,
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's true. It's true. I mean, just talking about ourselves, March, when they announced the lockdown, MCO, we don't call it lockdown, right? The movement control
Mhm.
order. The first thing naturally is for us to, want to do this. We are managing.
Yes.
I think for myself itself, we sort of panic for a few minutes. Then we say, okay, let's get this done. I start instructing,
Mm.
the HR to draft this, the IT to do this, and so on. And that's where you find that suddenly you just lose all control, and you just want to manage. You want to make sure that things will continue on and so on. So that is quite common. But I
Mm.
think as leaders, what you should do is that after maybe the initial stage, then sit back, take a step back again, and let your managers who are in IT, they know what to do. Your managers in HR, they will know what to do. Instead of just ordering and giving command and so on.
Wow. So in a way, you need to step back and observe, and hopefully, whatever you've imparted with the rest of the team, will prevail. They know what to do in times of a crisis, kan?
In fact, you have to give them confidence because, say for example, the HR people, they do this day in day out. They
Yeah,
know a bit more than us.
yeah,
So, and what I find through this crisis is that they were actually advice coming from them that we never thought of, and
yeah.
it gives you a different perspective. So it just has to be have continue to have the trust, whether in a crisis or not. I think when there's
Absolutely.
no crisis, we gave them 100% trust. Then when crisis hit, it suddenly, you want to be the HR head again, and there are things that you never been through, or the things that you never thought about. So it is important, to continue on with the trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're talking about leading and managing through managing a crisis, or rather managing change through a crisis. And we're learning so much this afternoon with Andrew from Baker Tilly, Malaysia. Now we're going to take a short break. When we come back, sometimes we are leaders, but at a point where you're presented with so many issues, we tend to flip side and become a manager. So how do we know that we're leading through a crisis or just managing a response? How do we correct ourselves? All right. We'll come back and discuss that next on AF for Radio. Well, mix and bounce back on AFORadio.com. Hi, good afternoon. I am Mag, and how you doing? Hopefully, everything is falling into place right smack in the middle of the week, and we're learning to differentiate between leading and managing change through a crisis. And this afternoon with me is Andrew Heng, the Group Managing Partner for Baker Tilly Malaysia. Now, if you're watching us through Facebook.com/AFORadio and you'd like to share the news with your friends as well, please go ahead and share this broadcast, and maybe we can help others at the same time as well. Okay, in the meantime, Andrew, now if you have been a leader all this while, right, you're doing fantastic, and then suddenly with all that it has been put in front of you due to COVID-19, suddenly you gabra, right, and you take on the managing post. How do you know that you've moved on, and how do you correct yourself?
So some of the telltale sign is that suddenly you take a very narrow view. The human brain is programmed as such. When crisis hits, right, you tend to just focus on certain things. So when you start, like the example I gave before, if you start thinking about what to do with your staff, you want to, what's the working hours? Should they be on the computer 24 hours or between 9 to 5? When you start thinking things like that, you take a very narrow stance. Then you know that these are some of the traps that you fall into, that you're managing again, rather being the leadership, giving the trust. And sometimes that if you solve a particular problem and you're very happy, you also can say that you've been seduced by managing. Suddenly you love to manage, and when the issue is resolved, you feel a high. That is also a sign that that tells you, hey, maybe you should take a step back.
Yeah.
One of the other thing also is a lot of people like to do command center. You see all these movie. Every time there's a crisis, you set up a command center. And then you especially all the movies on police and so on, command center, where someone will be shouting orders everywhere. And if you find yourself doing that, you want to set up an email. All email must go through you or must be CC to you. Then that's also a trap that you are falling into, where you are leaning towards managing rather than leading and giving the trust to your people. And I mean, probably the other one is forgetting the human factors, forgetting your people. Crisis affect people the most, not just the businesses, right? So if we so the staff are also facing the same issue, and suddenly leaders become managers and wanting to override their decision and stuff like that. That also affects the morale and so on. So these are things that you have to. These are probably the telltale sign that that you should watch out for.
Okay. Once you see these signs, how do you course correct it?
Quite easy. I think, say, for example, taking the narrow view that I mentioned. So basically, you just need to take a step back, pull back, open up your mind again, and look at the background of things. Take a look at the broader aspect, the holistic view, and then, and even think about opportunities. There's a Chinese saying that always says, in crisis, there's opportunities. So maybe as a leader, instead of just, calling your managers every few hours to make sure things are done, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Is there an opportunity? So, well, basically that's basically what I did. I started to think, what should we do? And we actually did a lot of Zoom topics, Zoom seminar and stuff like that over the MCO. These are the things that leaders should be thinking about. The topics, the speakers, organizing a few friends from different industry to do a talk here and there. Rather than just managing, is people working, what's happening, and so on. So so there's no right or wrong solution, but I think at the end of the day, I think if you look at the big picture and you think what else can we do to benefit out of it, then I think that could be one way to course correct. Sometimes when you're just fascinated with managing people.
Fascinated. Okay, that's a very interesting word to use. Okay, so you're joining us this afternoon on Facebook, and if you have questions that you'd like to put forward to Andrew, and maybe you have something lingering in your mind regarding the topic, and you want to ask him, you're more than welcome to just drop your comments below in the comment section. We've got a message here from Jacqueline. She just wants to say hi to Andrew. So Jacqueline Lau says hi to Andrew this afternoon. Okay, so now coming back to our topic, now without naming the company, how have you managed to turn around a company that was in dire need of a cost correction? I mean, it's
Mm.
easier said than done. Let's face it. I mean, to tell a person, hey, you got to take a step back, look at things, and then reassess things, and then watch it flow. Just have trust in your people. But it's not exactly the easiest thing to put in action.
Mm.
So, have you actually helped to manage some of the companies, and how have you helped them?
So yes, we do a lot of turnarounds work as well for companies. We do mainly a lot of financial restructuring in terms of their financial aspect of stuff. But turnarounds in turbulent times like this, turnarounds, it is a fact of life. You can't get away with it.
Mm.
Some of the companies, you need to look at it to rescue them from the brink of extinction. Some of it
Oh
is
dear.
more while they are profitable, but some correction that needed to be made, right? So and these are and with technologies, the shift in technologies and so on. So sometimes there's a momentum shift that caused by new technologies and so on. So you just need to be prepared for both what we call operational restructuring or financial restructuring or turnaround to make
Mhm.
sure that you're able to um, for both lah. So both the financial side and the operation side.
Okay, okay. So, you've been in the business for many, many years now. Would you say that 2020 has brought forth, more companies with issues like this than in the past?
Definitely. I think a lot of companies, so a lot of companies now, I think they're not in the brink of extinction or anything like that. But I think there will be a lot of cash flow management issue.
Yeah.
Because your customers are not paying because of the MCO, or your customers are not buying stuff from you and stuff like that. Take all the restaurants for example. There's no business coming in, all the pubs. A lot of them will face cash flow issues, and yet you have to pay the rentals, you have to pay the staff and so on. So more on a cash flow management issues rather than facing extinction and stuff like that. I think the
Mm.
business will be there. I think there was also some report that when they lifted, well, when it came to CMCO or RMCO, there was a rush of people going to shopping center to buy things.
Yeah.
So people still want to buy things. So the business is still there. Just that
Yeah.
you probably need to stretch the cash flow a bit for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Hmm. I think throughout 2020, you had, I guess most businesses had to recalibrate everything that they've learned.
Yeah,
Everything that you've been doing year after year had to be changed and spoofed up, lah.
yeah,
To say, like, you can't just follow the old format that you've been doing, because this year definitely, needed some sprucing up.
correct. Well, it's true. I mean, I'm a Gen X, right? So I've been working for 20 odd years. Doing this work from home thing. I never believed it. But when we were forced upon it, and you do realize that, oh wow, okay, people are actually working from home, and it actually can work, and
Yeah.
it's well, now it's something that we are looking into it to maybe make it as one of the permanent feature for our firm as well. That there's an option to work from home. So to tell you the truth, before this March 18, I never believe all this work from home, flexi hours. I always think you need to be in the office. Don't have to be in the office by 8:30, but you have to be in the office at least by 10 or something.
You need to be putting in the hours, lah, so to say.
Exactly.
I guess your perspective has changed as well, isn't it?
Yes. I think it opens up your mind, opens And I think that's what being a leader is supposed to be, right? So when you experience it, it gives you a different feel.
Mm.
When you experience it yourself, I practically set up I had a basement. Set up my work
Home
from home
office.
area, home office, yeah, home office, overnight, and and it gives you a different perspective. The kids are running around, coming up and down, and but it works at the end. The kids, after the first few days, they know what you're doing, and they try not to disturb you as much, and so it takes a bit of use to, and sometimes, yeah, after a while, yeah, it can work.
Definitely, definitely. Now, what I noticed about this work from home culture, since you've mentioned it, right? You never really believed in it. I noticed people were saying that, their managers or their bosses weren't trusting them. They would call at odd hours, or, they will check and tell you, hey, you need to be in front of a computer from 9 to 5. Definitely, you cannot move, that kind of a thing. And people are getting frustrated. Some were getting frustrated that there was never an end to work from home, because you're at home anyway, so it doesn't matter even if you're working at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or having a meeting at 9 p.m. What's your take on that?
um I think it just needs to get a lot of used to. So within our firm itself, we have different managers. So you're right. Some managers actually said, between 10 to say 4,
Yeah,
you need to be logged on onto your Teams. So we use the Microsoft Teams, so you'll be able to see that they are on the computer. So there are people that there are managers that says that, but there are managers that are also a bit more relaxed, where they say, okay, just get it done. I don't
yeah.
care how you get it done, and get it done and email it to me by say 6 or 7 tonight, and so on and so
Mm.
forth. So I think it's a lot of personal preference, and it's also, when you talk to the junior staff, some of them likes it. They say they find that if the manager is also on the laptop, they feel that they're not alone. They
Okay.
feel that they're not alone, and they feel that we're still working as a team. And some people needs that.
Yeah.
Because some people will just leave me alone, I'll get it done.
Yes.
So there are different type of people. So it's not just the managers; it's the staff as well. Some of the
Okay.
junior staff actually likes it. They want a bit of control, but they also like being controlled. A bit of guidance here and there. And it's also good that that, okay, if I have any questions, I can straight away just type, and they
Yeah.
will answer. Go on a Zoom call and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's both ways, lah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we've mentioned, or rather, Andrew has told us about, what do managers do and what do leaders do. So sometimes I think it's easier to manage situations, but is it wrong to manage situations instead of being a leader? So we'll talk about that when we get back after this on AFO Radio. Dancing with a Stranger on AFLradio.com. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to AFL Live. I am Mag, and this afternoon on the show, we're talking about leading and managing change through a crisis with Andrew Heng, the group managing partner for Baker from Baker Tilly, Malaysia. Now, Andrew, we've spoken about, managers, we've spoken about leaders, and I think sometimes, it's easier, as we mentioned earlier, it's easier to just take that step as a manager and manage things, right? But is it wrong though?
Sorry, I got cut out a bit. Sorry, couldn't hear you.
No, no worries. I mean, when you step into a manager role, right? Especially when you're presented with a whole lot of crisis and problems and issues, you just want to take on that role and, settle everything and take care of everything. But is it wrong?
It's not wrong, but I think the initial stage, yes, you can do it almost immediately. When the crisis hit,
Absolutely.
maybe the first few hours or first few days, you do it immediately. You try to manage the situation. Once you see that everything is sort of stabilized, you really need to take a back role, take a back seat. As leaders, especially during times like COVID and all this, you have to really look at the bigger picture. You need to look at how to elevate the risk, whether there's survival issue or not. You need to look at the bigger picture, your cash flow position, and then you need to look at the feasibility of your business model, whether it still works. With this work from home and with this, there's nothing going on for close to 3 months. What are the feasibility of your business model? You have to adapt. You have to change. So as leader, this is where you come in, because the managers can help you manage the situation, but the feasibility, the change of direction of your business, this will come from you as the leader, not from the manager. So,
Now, sorry, go on, continue.
it's extremely important, and I think that as the leader, you have to look at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and the next 18 months. So these are all the things that you need to look at.
Absolutely. Now, like you said, no, it is almost immediately that we take into that position. It's very easy to do so. So when is the right time to manage and when is the right time to lead?
I think you can safely say that as soon as the crisis starts, maybe you can take the manager role just to stabilize things. But as soon as it is stabilized, or as soon as you see that things are moving, people are handling it well, and people knows what needs to be done, then you really need to take a step back. I would say, almost immediately. I mean, when this MCO thing came into place, the first few days we were looking at managing, but almost as immediately, you should just take a step back and say, hey, there's bigger picture than this. Not all this working from home, buying computers for people, giving them internet access. These are not important. These people, let the IT department handle it. Let the HR handle it. If they need certain things to be bought, let them handle it. Don't go and ask for approval from you. And so so I would say almost as immediate as you handle the crisis, you must pull yourself back and look at the bigger picture.
Wow. Okay, that's very, very interesting indeed. I guess there is a reason why there are departments in a company, isn't it? There's a department for everything.
Exactly. So that's what they're there for, and they do this day in, day out. They know more than you. They know where to source things. They know where to find things. This is the HR department. They know where to look, what to research, and so on. Whereas and especially with I'm very proud of my HR department as well. They really took on the challenge and build policies and they were doing it as we go and as we speak. And you felt so comfortable that you could just sit back and say, okay, let them handle it. I'll think of something. Is anything else to think about? Or if not, I was watching TV most of the time.
Well done to your team. I guess for a leader, you feel a sense of accomplishment that now you can truly trust your team and they can go out and handle things, without you even worrying.
That's right. And we pride ourselves with that. And in fact, one of our motto is to be the best place to work. So
Wow.
if you see our Facebook page and our social media, there's a hashtag that we always, best place to work. So that's what we try to strive towards. We want to make sure that people working for Baker Tilly is the best place to work, and we use that as a guiding principle for us as well.
Brilliant. Got vacancy, yeah.
Always have.
Okay, Andrew, with so many businesses experiencing all forms of crisis, let's face it, we've got financial crisis, we've got manpower crisis. What would you say, should be the focus to rise up from this whole slump?
Um, Financial is definitely one of the major one, right? So
Without a doubt.
without money, nothing comes, right? Nothing goes, and you can't pay this and that. So financial is definitely the main one. The second one, of course, the staff, the manpower. These are important assets as well. For us, for a company like us, an accounting audit firm, our biggest asset is our people. With about
Yep.
So definitely you need to treat them well, a bit of humility. So I suppose it goes hand in hand. If you give me a choice, which one is slightly more important? Of course, the financial part is slightly more important because you need to make sure to get the money so that you can, pay the staff and make sure that they are taken care of, and provided for, and that we don't do cuts and stuff like that for them, because they are
Yep.
also going through a tough time. It's not just us, not just the leaders.
Definitely.
So at Baker Tilly, we were quite proud. We didn't cut anyone's salary. In fact, we paid their last year's bonus as well. We delayed it a bit. We
Wow.
delayed it a bit. Yeah, it's not we delayed it by 1 or 2 months, but we still paid. The only cuts that we cut was the bosses. So all the leaders, all the directors got some haircut and so on. So including myself. So and that's something that we believe in. We have to share the pain. And
Definitely. I love that. I mean, well done. I mean, you guys are truly leading the way, lah. That's the way it goes. Now, you've
yeah.
mentioned that people are important. So, how important is human capital during this crisis?
Oh, very important. Without them, nothing moves, right? Without in every yeah, in every industry, not just accountants. Even in your manufacturing, without them, nothing moves. And if you because of a small crisis, you decide to do something that's demotivates them, when they come back, they're still going to be demotivated.
Yeah,
So I think the important thing is that without human capital, nothing moves. And and the crisis come and go, right? And hopefully this one will go pretty fast, pretty soon. They still have to come back, right? And you still need people. And when the
yeah,
business is good again, you need them back. And you don't want to be the company that's known that during crisis they cut us, they sacked us, and now that they need us, they come back. You don't want to be known as that. You want to be
absolutely.
known that overall you treat us well, and when they come back, they work triple as hard, and they try to help you gain back the market share that you lost, or the revenue that you lost. So it's very
Definitely.
important.
Definitely. You said it so well. I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people forget because your
Yes,
people actually help. If your workers are happy, you can guarantee that, things will flow eventually lah, pretty well. Now, a
exactly.
lot of companies were forced to deduct salaries, right? In
Yeah.
your opinion, was this the right move, especially since we've all concluded that human capital is the most crucial during this whole crisis?
So it's a very personal thing. So at Baker Tilly, we decided not to cut.
Mm,
We took additional loans and so on, just to make sure that we don't cut the salary. But that's also because by choice, by
yeah,
our own choice, and because we wanted to be the best place to work, and we didn't want the staff to suffer as much
yeah.
from arising from the crisis. So that's our decision. But I think in the industries itself, there's some industries that some is unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
There's no right or wrong answer. I think more a preference, personal choice by the bosses and so on. So I
Yeah.
don't think there's a right or wrong. Some industry do really need to cut, because without cutting, they may have thousand over people, right, or two 3,000 over people. So
Mm,
they need to be a bit of sharing of the pain and so on. I mean, if not, the company goes bankrupt, then it's
it's
not
worse.
advantage. It's worse. Yeah, everyone gets zero anyway. So
Yeah.
I think it's not so much whether it's right or wrong, it's how you do it. And
Mm.
this is where the managers, the HR department, this is where it is important how you do it. You have to communicate openly, you have to share the pain, and you have to maybe call everyone in to discuss, to come to a consensus. So I think communication, is important, and really there is no right or wrong answer, and it really depends on the companies and the industry itself.
Andrew is very diplomatic. Okay? He's got really good answers. We're talking to Andrew Heng from Baker Tilly, Malaysia this afternoon. Our topic is leading and managing change through a crisis. We're going to take a very, very short break and then we'll come back with more with Andrew. In the meantime, if you're watching, please do share the broadcast. And if you have questions, feel free to write them in the comment section. If you just want to say hi to Andrew, you can do so as well. And we'll read it out for you. Okay. We'll be back in just under 1 minute. So stick around. We'll be back after this.
Thank you.
That's right. This is AFORadio.com. I am Mag, and with me this afternoon is Andrew Heng from Baker Tilly, Malaysia. Our topic for this afternoon is leading and managing change through a crisis. Now, Andrew, in your experience, with over 20 years of being in an industry, what would you say are the most common mistakes done by businesses during a time of crisis that can be avoided?
Common mistakes, huh? That's quite interesting. So, um, I think again it falls back to not looking at the big picture, right? So
Mm,
it's we've been discussing this the whole time. The first common mistake is that you tend to want to over manage things
yep.
rather than sitting back and taking a look at the big picture. Um, and some of the other more immediate is to cut costs. A lot of
Yep.
people just straight away want to cut costs, cut this, cut that because of crisis. That is also something that you may have to take a backseat look at, just to see whether it is worth cutting that cost, because sometimes in crisis these are the costs that is unavoidable,
Yep.
right? You need to spend to get things moving. um, things like even the one of those costs that you always cut is when it comes to personnel benefits, and we think
Mm-hmm.
that because it's MCO, there's no need for all these kind of things,
Yeah.
but it may not be true. You may need to um, you know buy food for them, send them some chocolates and stuff like that. These are also motivating factors as well.
The
So
little
not
things,
just
huh?
little things, yeah. So don't just think of wow, we are in crisis, we need to cut this, cut that, cut everything. So and in crisis like this, technology, you need not only you can't cut it, you have to spend more on it. You have to buy Zoom, you have to buy Microsoft, you have to buy all these software that will ease the workload and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. Okay, so on top of my head, something just popped up. I'm curious though, what would you say are some of the most important lessons that you can take from this whole crisis?
I think managing human capital, managing your people. Don't forsake them. Don't just leave them on the lurch, because they are suffering as much as we are. You don't know what's happening to their family, who's losing
Absolutely.
job, so forth. Because it's an extended family, maybe their parents are suffering. There's also anxiety when you don't know what's happening to the economy. You don't know what's going to happen to your company. You don't know whether you're going to keep your job,
Yep.
or your children, your parents, your husband, your wife. So all this, it yeah, it creates a bit of stress and tension among them. So I think the biggest lesson is, let them know that you are there. Let them know that we are still around. Um, uh, just talk to them and make sure that you keep the constant communication
Open.
going open. Yes.
Okay. I love that. I mean, it's so heartwarming to hear it. It's very nice. Okay, we've got some messages on our comment section saying hi to Hyrule Azli Abdul Aziz. He says, hi, Andrew. Hope everyone in FH and BT are doing well. Uh, Jerry Yup says, hi, Mag. Hi, Andrew. Hello. Thank you so much for
Well,
your message. And Prema Devi says, thumbs up. I would say thumbs up to Andrew
thumbs
as
up.
well. I think what he just said was brilliant. I mean, we don't know what everybody else is going through at this crucial point in time. I mean, we can't really anticipate what they're going through either. So let's just be a little kinder lah, in a
That's
way.
right.
Like you said,
That's right.
appreciate human capital. Yeah? I think everybody's in the same boat. We're all in this together. So let's get through this together as well.
Correct.
Okay, so Andrew, now we've come to the end of the show. Before I
Yeah.
ask you for your message for our viewers this afternoon, I want to ask you for your advice,
Mm,
for businesses that are struggling at this point. We've
mm,
been open for RMCO, I think, for about a month plus,
yes.
right? Yeah, so I'm sure it's still a tough fight or a tough moment for them right now. So what would your advice be for businesses out there?
I think this situation is extremely unique. I think no one has gone through this before, and this is the first time that and this for us will be what we tell our grandchildren, right? We got locked up
Yes.
for 3 months or so. So I think the most important thing, I think emotional intelligence, again, because we're dealing with people, right? All
Mm.
the technology in the world, we are so advanced. We are flying this, flying that, but I think emotional intelligence is what we need. A bit of
Yep.
stability in the environment. Look at the big picture. Whilst you look at the people, the individual, but you also need to look at the big picture.
Mm.
You have to expect anxiety from your team, and you need to deal with them. Don't
Yep.
just push them aside and say, yeah, forget it. Everyone is suffering, and including myself, I'm suffering, so I don't care. So
Yeah.
you need to deal with them. Um, you need to let the people tell you yes or no. If they say no, listen to them. I think you need to actively listen to them, seek for their input, because this is the first time we are going through this crisis as well.
Yep.
There are different views. Focus on your team members. Don't. A lot of companies I see, they send some representative talking to their people. Uh, I think that is a big no-no. If you are struggling, the more you need to come out. The more, if you don't like public speaking, record it in a video and then play it. But you
Okay.
need to be, yeah. The leader has to be there. Don't send a representative to do the talking. Do the
Mm.
email, the messages, do the video if you're comfortable. Do the town hall meeting if you need to. So I think these are important. And I suppose if you see something that's sort of broken, and if you need to jump into the manager role quickly just to fix things, do it as well. But remembering that you need to pull yourself away once. Every time you jump in, you need to tell yourself, yeah, I'm just fixing this, and you know pull yourself away and look at the
Yeah.
big picture. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Andrew, I've got a message here that came in. I think somewhat has described you very well. Jacqueline says Andrew has a big heart, not only to his staff, but for the community as well. So thumbs up to Andrew. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. We've got Chen Wen Wong who says it's such an insightful session. Thank you so much, Mag and Andrew. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for tuning in this afternoon as well. Without you guys, there's no point having this talk either.
Yeah.
And Mark Ho says, Shabas in Heng. Wow, Shabas
Oh,
indeed. Wow, you've got a lot of fans tuning in right now. Rhoda Ernling says Andrew is indeed a great leader. Very proud of him. I think
Thank you.
it's been an honor having you on the show, Andrew. I mean,
Thanks, man. Thanks.
you are very insightful. You've shared things that made so much sense.
Oh,
As much
yeah,
as it
hopefully.
made sense, people don't think about it, but it's nice that you've put it into perspective, and now people have a different way of looking at things as well. So before we say goodbye, Andrew, what is your last message to all our viewers on Facebook and also to all listeners on AFO Radio's channel as well right now?
But yeah, I just want to say, stay safe. This we will get through it. I think as a community, as a leader as well. I think we will all get through this. But more importantly, I think everyone stay safe, be healthy, remain healthy, and be positive as well.
Indeed. You stay positive and very inspiring. Stay inspiring as well, Andrew. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. This broadcast will continue to be on Facebook. So if you missed the first half or three quarters of it, you can still continue watching live. Eunice Wong, I'll read your message to end the show this afternoon. She says, "Long live Andrew." Indeed. So, Andrew, you take care. Stay safe.
Take care.
Once again, thank you so much for all your insights this afternoon. We'll keep in touch and hopefully we'll have you on the show once again in the near future. In the meantime, you have a
Happy.
great day ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.